Playboy prince. Orgies and parties, an embarrassment to everyone everywhere. That is the legend, and tonight Ash decides to wear it. Crates of gold-cased bottles, fine glassware, a wagon of imperial drink. The Tyrant brought lots of expensive liquor for the visit. Bottle raised, dark uniform crisp, a confident grin pulling at his mouth. Let's have a drink, Front-Cou. Ash is selling the act. At the wrought iron gate, an old blonde servant waves him off. No, the wagon waits behind, patient as the prince. Two crystal glasses set side by side on dark wood. It has been a while since I drank with someone else, Ash says, almost honest. The old Vintner laughs through a gap-toothed mouth. Good thing he's easy to read. Decades of weather have carved him into something patient and mean. A red-haired girl bound in a wheelchair, fire blooming behind her, a grinning silhouette rising. The man's nightmare wears the prince's face. A door cracks open down a candlelit hall. This way. The light is warm, the corridor narrow, the welcome anything but. Red drapes, lantern glow, an empty hall. Ash steps inside in his cloak, his footsteps the loudest thing this house has heard in years. Empty bottles tipped sideways, dust on the floorboards, wine darkening the wood. Whoever lives here has been drowning for a long time. Ash pulls a black mask over his nose, brown eyes narrow above it. It reeks of alcohol. He doesn't just drink, he's an alcoholic. Is this glass clean? The prince inspects the crystal in the lantern light. Even if the house is a pigsty, the cups must be clean. A heavy bottle slammed down on the table. Gold-capped, engraved, the kind of weight that makes drunks remember manners. The old man's eyes blow wide above his white beard. Peacemaker's first-year royal whiskey. He's seen this label only in stories. Peacemaker is the middle name of the current emperor. The drink was distilled the year he took the crown. Centuries of weight in one bottle. A thin amber line pours into the crystal. I bought this expensive drink for you, so please treat me nicely. The bribe is on the table. Half a smile, eyes hooded with calculation. That, the prince thinks, is the message this whole performance should have gotten across. Pa! The old man crushes the empty glass in a fist, beard wet, as expected of a quality drink. It even goes down differently. A long dark table, two chairs, lantern light pooling. Can you even appreciate the taste? Ash murmurs, watching the old man savor it. Is that right? Ash's face goes flat above the gold-trimmed collar. I don't drink, he says, so I can't tell if that's right or not. A bottle skids across the wood mid-sentence. Anyway, Front-Cou, today we must talk about, don't bring up a different topic. Leave if you're going to talk about something else, the gray-bearded man snaps, refilling his glass with hands that won't stop shaking. Ash studies him in silence. This old drunkard, he thinks, is only drinking on an empty stomach. He's drinking to forget something. I made it from fruit I harvested in my orchard, the old man says. Ash listens, half-lit, gold epaulettes catching the candle. Can you see it over there? Outside the window. Two figures at the sill, the prince following the old man's gaze through the dusty glass. Beyond the pane, rows of grapevines, a manor down the path, a sky bruised bronze and rust. A small place, the old man says. My pastime. Ash bites into a grape, his face twists, eyes squeezing shut. He spits the pulp out in a violent burst. The flavor is wrong, deeply wrong. Pulp held up to the light between gloved fingers. It's so bitter and sour. The taste of land that has stopped being able to give. How dare you spit it out, the gray-bearded man rasps, anger jumping in the deep lines of his face. How incredibly rude. Another cup raised, drained in a single tilt. The white beard is wet. The old soldier drinks the way other men breathe. Ash holds up the cloth pouch the man tried to give him. Why offer it as a gift, he asks, if you can't even eat it yourself? Why would I give it to you? The Vintner refills his cup, eyes hard now. Two strangers turning, slowly into something else. Is that right? The prince says, faintly amused. He's speaking nonsense, Ash thinks, but it's weirdly persuasive. A weathered hand stretches into the lantern light, knuckles like knots of rope. Then what's wrong with the taste? The old man pleads. Then what's wrong? The silver-haired Vintner asks again. They say it's all crops, not just fruit, Ash answers, watching him closely. Oh. The old man's expression shifts under the white brows. The carved lines deepen. He has not heard this answered out loud before. A black hill, twisted trees clawing at a violet sky, monster shapes melting into the soil. When they die, they leak dark energy. The land curses. Vintner's green eyes lock onto something behind the prince's words. He is not drunk anymore. He is a soldier doing math. Crystal goblet glowing on the dark wood. He looked at the golden alcohol made of fruits and grains that cannot be harvested from this area. Then why are you growing an orchard? Ash asks, voice low. The old man stands at the window, silver hair backlit. No answer ready. That orchard is my regret, the old man says. Vines stretch into bronze haze, manor small at the end, the past growing in cursed soil. He tips the gold-capped bottle. Empty. Hollow glass turning weightless in a trembling hand. The night has run out of distractions. Ash refills the cup steady, eyes never leaving the old man's face. The cape swings, the gold trim catches. The negotiation has begun. A heavy bottle slammed back on the table. Kick me out if you want to, but I will say what I have to say, the old man warns. Tired green eyes above the white beard. The drunk is gone. What remains is a man waiting to hear the truth he ran from for years. Black cliffs and ruined towers. A red-caped figure stands alone above the rubble. We were able to stop them, but the walls were heavily damaged. The blonde aide, Lucas, mouth wide in a shout, gold-trimmed armor catching the sun. Hopelessly insufficient soldiers. His voice cracks. There are no soldiers under my command, Ash says quietly, head bowed in front of the white-bearded man. The Empire's tyrant, asking for help. An army of green-cloaked soldiers under leaf banners, spears tall in the wind. But when I gave up my title as lord, the old man remembers. A spear leans against a stone wall, the shield slumped in tall grass beside it. When I let go, those friends drop their weapons too. A pale palm opens. A single dark fruit rests in it. This land, he says, is not worth protecting. What do you... Ash starts, and stops. Ash stares back, dark hair falling across one brow. Trying to protect this worthless front line, he says, and evacuate everyone instead. The old man drinks slowly now. The man who descends from a family that made it their business to protect this land, from his ancestors to now. Why did you come to this land? The old man asks at last. Ash stands across the table, gold tassel swaying, no clean answer prepared. With no hope or future, a ruined keep stands in dust and dying gold light. The land Ash is begging for is half a graveyard already. A single bloodshot eye stares from a face carved by hatred. The old man has lived a long time inside this question. Dusk over the courtyard. Ash walks out past the gray-bearded man and the blonde aide, the manor windows already dim behind them. Your Highness, did you succeed in persuading him? Lucas asks under green leaves. Nope, I failed, Ash says, voice oddly light. In his glove, the small wrapped fruit. Well, who said it would work itself out in a day? The bargain is open, not closed. Far elsewhere, a silver-haired figure with a tied-back ponytail stands turned away. Someone Ash has not yet found. Someone the Empire has lost. It seems like he's been through something, Ash says quietly to Lucas. Dark uniform black against the sky. The blonde aide nods. The prince looks toward the bronze horizon, mouth tightening. The wagon road stretches back the way it came. Crossroad is waiting. Behind round white lenses, a memory grins. Cursed director bastard. The architect of this game still has cards to play. Two riders in the failing light. Mountains low on the horizon. We have to do all that we can for now. What we can do, Ash says. Whatever cards I have, the monsters will come. I must be as efficient as possible. The cape swings as Ash mounts, soldiers saluting. Let's go back to Crossroad, Ash says. We have a lot to do. The dark hair, the gold trim, the resolve sharpening into a blade. Stage 2 glows red. LV7, 3 bodies. Large sewer rat, 3,251 bodies. The next wave is already counting. The next morning, soldiers crawl through smoking rubble at the wall, hauling out the great sword that broke Crossroad open last night. We just broke apart the large sword stuck in the wall. Today we clean the debris. Today we start repairing the fort wall. Don't throw the sword shards out, Ash says, dark hair lifting. Spread it in front of the wall instead. Even broken steel can bleed monsters. What's the estimated time for repairing the wall? A worker calls down from the buckled wreck of the gate. The dust still hangs in the air. Cut to the chase. How long will it take? 10 days, the gray-bearded foreman says. Front count cross does not pad numbers for tyrants. 10 days? Ash's profile cuts dark against the sky. We have around a week until the next defense round. The math does not balance. There's not enough time, the prince thinks behind a black-edged thought bubble. 3 days short of survival. 3 days of math he cannot pay. The epitome of the Empire's architecture, the Crossroad wall, hangs broken against a flawless sky. The gap is wide enough to swallow an army. I'll take care of materials and workers, Ash says. Gold trim catching morning. Do whatever it takes to finish the repair within a week. Stage 2 enemy info blinks blue. LV question mark, 3 bodies. LV5 large sewer rat, 3,251 bodies. 3,000? The large dog-sized rats they spotted in the free exploration return as a tide. Crossroad must have its fort wall back. We will try our best, the gray-bearded foreman murmurs, sweat already on his brow, the deadline already cracking him in half. Hey, hey, we're protecting the world, the masons shout under broken arches. Let's get to it. Yes, sir. The chant carries thin in the wind. By day, Ash runs the wall repair from a torchlit war table inside the keep, maps and ledgers stacked in a small pool of candlelight. Between the Front-Cou and me, just the give and take of wine glasses, a heavy gold spout pouring amber into a single carved cup. Lucas's blonde face goes white. Ash sprays a rainbow burst of drink across the courtyard, the kind of reaction that ruins reputations. Night drops on the steep slate roofs of Crossroad, the moon thin and cold above shuttered windows. The city is sleeping with one eye open. A full crystal cup sits on dark wood, untouched, catching candle. The verdict has been poured and the prince has not picked it up. Two tall crystal candelabra flicker between them, candles trembling as bodies move past. The keep hall is silent of everything but breath. Sweat shines on Ash's brow above the gold collar, mouth open. The old man's question has cracked something. The prince is stalling. I asked if you love someone. The white-bearded Vintner sips slow across the long table, lantern catching the side of his weathered face. Think hard, the silver-haired Vintner murmurs across the table. Is there really no one? Ash's dark uniform stiffens against the lantern. A black-gloved hand rises, knuckles pressed under the chin. Someone I love. The prince repeats the words like he is testing a foreign coin. Memory flickers in pale blue panels, a streamer at his keyboard, a stranger's kindness in the chat, a hooded figure watching from elsewhere. Anyway, no matter how hard I think, the thought balloon rings black around the words. The prince has been alone longer than he can name. There's none, Ash blurts, half his face hidden behind a black glove. The admission comes out smaller than anything he has ever said aloud. Brown eyes narrow into slits, dark hair falling. Ash's gaze is suddenly all calculation. The old man has decided to tell the truth. I did, the white-bearded Vintner says, lifting his glass with a hand that no longer shakes. The drink finally tastes like memory. The room goes gray, a half-tone wash, dust suspended, time stopping the way it does when a man finally lets a memory speak. My wife, a pale woman with long auburn hair, bouquet of small flowers in her arms, glass cracking around her like a shattered halo. Ash listens, brow drawn, dark hair half over one eye. The young tyrant has just sat across from a man who lost everything. She was ripped apart by monsters in this orchard, the Vintner says quietly, raising the cup to a beard now wet with old grief. There's a jinx, the old man says, that's passed down to each lord of this land. The wrinkles deepen, the voice does not shake at all. Outside the dusty window, the slate roofs of Crossroad cluster low against a yellow dusk. This city, and your precious person, the old man says. There will be a moment when you must choose one over the other. From the founding lords of far back, my grandfather, and even my father. Green eyes burn under heavy white brows. Each lord chose. Each lord paid. The jinx is not a story. It is a ledger that has not yet closed. A trembling old hand cups the goblet, golden alcohol shivering inside the crystal. The hand has held this story for 3 years without speaking. The monster's main group was already attacking the city, and I had to choose. Banner tall words pressed down on the sleeping town. Heavy white mustache, grim mouth. Will the first save my wife at the farm, or protect the tens of thousands of civilians inside the city? A candelabra flutters in the dark. The candles drip wax across the keep floor as the question hangs unanswered above the table. Ash sits silent across the dark. You chose the city, he says, voice low under dark hair. The Vintner does not answer. He does not need to. A black flag snaps over the broken battlement. As the principals tell me to, I chose the city. I fought off the monsters for hours. The fields were ruined and all the people were killed. A dozen monsters ripped apart hundreds. The orchard, the wife, the whole farm gone. Front-Cou Cross was loyal to his mission. Instead, he lost what was precious to him. The wages of duty, paid in graves. My daughter called me crazy. The white beard tips low, the cup catching torchlight. The Lord's last family member walked away that day. A lone silhouette stands on a road as a wagon trails away under tree shadows, dust gilded by a falling sun, someone watching her go forever. Pale gradient. The hush that follows a story which has cost a man his life. The keep hall holds its breath around the Vintner's silence. This is just one example, young lord, the Vintner says. Ash's brown eyes hold steady above the gold-trimmed collar, listening hard.
You probably know what this place is called.
You mean the City of Graves? The prince answers across the table, voice oddly gentle now.
Yeah.
This city that's built upon death. The bubble fills the dark like a slab of stone. The name is older than the family that owns it. 3 white crosses stand in a black graveyard at the edge of a city skyline. We'll make you choose as well, the Vintner says. The old man's mouth bends around a slow, mirthless smile, knuckled hand at his beard. He has watched this conversation coming for decades. Ash leans against the keep wall, half lit by lamp glow. It didn't sound like a curse, the prince thinks. It sounded like a prediction. Heavy lids close over green eyes carved by decades of weather. The Vintner is bracing for the next sentence the same way men brace for blades. I see, Ash murmurs, dark eye narrowing into a sharp gold rim. The prince has heard everything he needed to hear. I want my daughter to get out of this cursed land? The white-bearded man rasps, hands clutching his cup like a last shield against the prince. To protect your daughter from inheriting it, Ash answers across the candlelight. The red cape is still. The offer is finally on the wood. The SSR-ranked tanker, Evangeline Cross, a silhouette in light armor, stands inside a ring of fire, sword at her hip, ponytail catching wind. Liquor spirals into the goblet, a slow gold thread. Ash refills steady. The character he wanted so badly, the girl her father will not give. I've protected the city enough, the silver-haired Vintner says, eyes hollowing under heavy brows. The Lord has stopped paying the toll. Ash watches him without moving, dark hair falling over one brow. The prince's mouth makes a flat line. The negotiation is suddenly a wall. The eyes of the Front-Count reflected in the goblet. Had no pride in protecting the front line all his life. Only the weight of who he buried. Now leave. And here's a word of advice. The old Vintner laughs through gapped teeth, candle behind him, the long beard catching warm light. 2 days left until the start of the next stage. The Crossroad wall stands gapped, debris scattered across the courtyard like spilled teeth. A red cape whips above brown boots, the prince striding past chunks of broken sword. The clock shrinks. The math has not changed. As expected of our prince, a banner cries above the dark birds. He spends when he needs to. The crest snaps red against an open sky. Just eat your damn food, Ash deadpans, surrounded by grinning soldiers. The dark uniform stays crisp, the gold trim still catching morning sun. Liquor poured into a tin cup, the mustachioed scout already drinking before the pour stops. Bottle weight, drunken comfort, an army that wants more. The makeshift wall repair will be complete in 2 days. Good work. Riveted steel plates cover the gap like stitches in a wounded ribcage. The gray-bearded foreman stands beside the prince in pale sun, white locks lifting. Crossroad will hold the front, even if it has to hold with iron. The foreman lifts a rolled scroll, white beard wide as he howls. The patchwork plan has a name, a stamp, a deadline scratched in his palm. Would you like to use the automatic defense tower summoning scroll? Yes. No. The blue prompt floats over the courtyard like a verdict. Obviously, it's a yes. The scroll detonates between black gloves, white light shearing the air, the prince's grin small and sharp. Brown eyes glow above the gold-trimmed collar, a halo of pale fire blooming at his fist. The scroll burns. The skill seats itself in his bones. Ash EX has obtained a player skill, summoning magic, automatic defense tower. The system's voice carves the words into pale blue stone. This will be enough, the prince thinks, gold tassel still over the rubble line. 3 figures stand against a yellow sky, fate's already turning. Automatic defense tower. Please choose where you'll install it. The system's blue prompt patient above the courtyard like a chessboard. Should I put it here? A pale blue blueprint floats in Ash's gloved palm, tiny battlements glowing as he angles them over the broken wall. A turret's silhouette rises against the smoke-streaked sky, dark hair lifting in the wind. The prince stands beside it, small and quiet. An armored cannon barrel slams down on the parapet in a flare of light. Crossroad has just gained a weapon the Empire never authorized. Stone slabs lock around the platform with a metallic snap, the new turret bedding into Crossroad's ribs like it always belonged there. Now, thanks to everyone, this defense line is getting stronger and stronger. The prince beams beside his cannon, mouth open in rare warmth. Keep up the good work. Workers stretch under the broken arches, the mood good in the dust. 2 figures cross the courtyard in long shadows. Our next stop is the blacksmith. The forge breathes hot orange under timbered eaves, ladders climbing into rafters bright with heat. How is it? Ash looks up at the gruff soldier inside the forge, dark hair falling over one brow, the heat of the fires reddening the stones. Spectre Fee level 1, you become untouchable for 5 seconds, immune to all attacks, but the user cannot attack either. A dodge built from soul. I'll use it well, your highness. The gruff soldier salutes in white plate, the prince small and dark beside the heavy gold-trimmed armor. He even almost cried when we measured his size. The prince's mouth tilts. I should give him gifts more often. The gold tassel quietly proud. Commission me anytime, your highness. The bearded smith laughs hot in front of the forge, eyes squeezed bright above his ironworker beard. Facility. Blacksmith level 3. Creating equipment at the blacksmith is critical even to the end of the game. The forge a quiet engine. Brown eyes hold steady above the gold-trimmed black coat. The prince already mapping the next favor he can buy out of fire and iron. We held a funeral. A long column of mourners winds through pale grass beneath a banner-lit sky, the city of graves swallowing one more procession. The cannons of the west field cracked the air to remember the dead. Bright bursts above battered stone, gunpowder for an honor guard. I couldn't tell if it was a good or bad thing. Ash's face is tight under the yellow sky, mouth thin, the gold collar hard against his throat. A choir of white-collared mourners hums in half-tones. Sheet music spread, voices climbing thin above the rubble's low static. A red cape walks alone past stone arches in the graveyard, dust gilded by falling sun. The prince counts the rows and remembers each one. What a royal way of using money. The white-bearded Vintner stands among his orchard trees, the prince's red cape stark in the moonlight. But this is the front line of monsters. Young lord. Heavy white mustache, eyes pale and old beneath the deep brows of a soldier returned. Or what, did you run out of alcohol at home? There's always never enough alcohol, Ash answers under a broad moon. 3 figures in the orchard. The white-armored Lucas stands at Ash's shoulder, blonde head silent. The blue gauntlets do not move. The Vintner has come bearing weight. The old man closes his eyes, dark hair turning toward him. The prince waits, gold collar still, while the Vintner finds the next sentence. Brown eyes wet above the dark coat, mouth half open. The prince is suddenly 20-something and tired, listening to a man older than his throne. Then a smile breaks across Ash's face, dark hair falling in his eyes, the cape bright at his shoulders. The negotiation is finally a friendship. But they are rearming right now. A great-green banner snaps over rows of silver-armored soldiers, the front count central, plumed and proud. Use them carefully, they're all old guys like me. The Vintner's pale eyes glitter wet under heavy brows, the white beard wild in moonlight. A goblet pressed into a black-gloved palm. Behind the long white beard, a calloused hand finally lets go of something the man had carried alone. The front count had been so strict, Ash thinks behind shadowed eyes. Who would have thought he'd help me? Unexpected. Quietly thankful. I think this is all the help I can give you, the silver-haired Vintner says, profile cut against torchlit windows of the city below. Thanks for cooperating, front count. Ash's eyes are warm above the gold buckle, manor lights blurring the hillside behind his cheek. I'll visit you whenever I need some of your wisdom. Wisdom, my ass. Just give me alcohol, the white-bearded man rasps under a wide moon. The Vintner stands quiet under the night sky. Weathered face turned towards stars he no longer thanks. A man done explaining himself. A pale hand cups a single leaf at chest height, the white-haired figure turning into the trees. He's choosing the orchard one more time. Even if he's old. Front Count Cross is a commander who has protected this front for his entire life. The red cape watches him go. So I couldn't dare stop him, and only watched as he walked away, believing that next time we would be able to talk more as lords. The bearded smith claps Ash's shoulder in the forge street, hammer in hand, the prince looking up small under the soot-bright noon. We have enough materials. Pale manospheres bank in the warehouse, arrows stacked beside them, supply hoarded for the wave that's coming. Around 300 silver soldiers fly green banners across the parapet, the front count's gift breathing into formation under blue sky. But this is more than I ever asked for, the prince thinks behind a small smirk, gold tassel sharp against his shoulder. The pact is closed. Cannon barrels rotate on the wall, pale lights blinking along iron flanks. The automatic defense tower has woken up. It does not blink first. Oh my baby, how trustworthy. The prince purrs, dark hair lifting, a sly red smear at the corner of his mouth. The cannon's gleam answers him. A wide grin pulls across Ash's face under the dust-warmed sun, gold collar tight, the cape catching wind. Crossroad is finally his fortress. Then a tall masked figure smiles under a black hood, painted teeth carved wide, 2 slit eyes watching everything Ash just built. A lone red-cloaked rider hammers along the broken crossroad wall, hooves drumming dust, the gapped battlements rising pale against a heavy sky. Boots pound stone, Speed lines bleed across the courtyard floor. The messenger has run faster than the news he is carrying to the prince. A red-helmed soldier shouts wide-mouthed under the gate plate rattling. The cry cracks through the courtyard before the watch can answer it. Ash stands above the rubble in red cape and gold-trimmed black coat, dark hair lifting. The horizon hums. The dust on the plain is moving. Stage 2. 9 minutes 13 seconds. The pale blue panel hangs over the wall like a verdict the prince cannot rewrite by drinking. Ash bares his teeth at the field, dark hair flying. Of all the runs he has played, no start has ever loaded with conditions this clean. A red banner of a black rose snaps along the parapet. "Come all you want, monsters," the prince mutters. The gold collar bites his throat. A figure forms inside the dust ring, robed and pointed masked, the clouds spiraling around it like a circle of teeth pulled out of the sky. The shape glitches in green static, eye slits hollow, the kind of frame that means the world has just slipped a tooth on its gears. Who is that guy? The pointed mask grins under a deep hood, ash drifting around the shoulders. Ash's brown eyes lock on it, not blinking. Lucas turns at his shoulder in white plate, blue eyes wide, an armored arm flung out toward the dust where the mask had hung in midair. A black-gloved hand lifts against the burning sky, the shape already gone, the wind blowing as if nothing was ever standing there. Damien. Lucas barks at his shoulder. The priest is the only one with eyes built to see the things Ash is sure he just witnessed. A column of small black bubbles ladders down beside the prince. Hallucination. He hopes that's all it was. But what if someone really is there? A black helm rocks on the empty stones below, sword hilt lying askew. Whatever it was has stopped haunting the parapet for now. Here the scout's bubble drifts above the parapet. A red cape stands alone against a wall of distant black silhouettes pouring in. A pile of broken sword shards heaped on the field, dust rising off it like steam off a fresh kill. The lure has been laid for the wave, whether I see hallucinations or not, or if their numbers are significant or not. The prince thinks behind a level face on the broken stones. There's only one thing I can do. The black bubble swallows the page, jagged edges burning. The decision is the only ground left to stand on. Stop them. Ash's brown eyes go cold above the gold collar, mouth small and flat. The order is final. The cannons answer before he turns. Cannon squad, ready fire. 3 red-armored gunners haul a barrel up the parapet, mouths shouting, soot blackening the rims of their helms. A muzzle flash blooms gold along the wall, twin barrels coughing smoke. The first salvo of the wave leaves the stones with a fat crack. Bursts of fire and dust erupt above the swarm, dark dots thrown skyward. The kill zone is doing exactly what the prince paid for it to do. A second blast tears across the line, fire ribboning the field. Bodies tumble in the smoke, the wave thinning for one bright, honest second. A third shell punches through the dust, gold and white, gunpowder painting the sky. The barrels gleam. Every salvo subtracts a digit. Kill counts 91. The pale blue panel ticks bright above the parapet, the digit rolling under the system's clean arrow. "Kill them all," the prince says. "They have large numbers, but they're a piece of cake, you rat bastards." Gold trim catching torchlight. Their numbers are ridiculously large. Ranks of dog-sized rats pour forward in tight columns, eyes burning red through the dust. In other words, if we pour our attacks within the target range, the fire on the plain folds higher, the prince's plan flexing into shape. Lev ?3 bodies. Lev 5 large sewer rat, 2,327 still standing. The math finally moves. Speed lines tear across the field, brown bodies streaking past the pile of broken sword shards. The wave is moving faster than the cannons. Ash bites his black glove, dark hair flying, sweat catching the gold collar. The prince's calm is finally being asked to bend or break. A mountain of corpses. The shells keep falling, but the dead pile up faster than they fall, the silhouette already a hill against the smoke. The piles of corpses are so big, they're climbing over the walls. The wave has built itself a stairway out of its own dead. The kill zone falling apart is outside my calculations. Ash's thought balloon clips the edge of the screen. The plan is cracking in halves. Cannon squad, change your target area. Ash whips in the smoke, mouth wide above the gold collar, the order cutting clean across the wall. The kill zone is far from the fort wall and the ground is covered in obstacles. Sword shards and corpses block the prince's clean field. Cannons swing on their pivots, barrels barking again, golden flashes blooming under the parapet as the gunners chase the wave with iron. A long arrow streaks white through the courtyard's broken roofline, flame trailing. Crossroad is finally throwing its bowlines into the breach. There's one thing I overlooked. The prince thinks behind a black bubble. Fire ribbons the field, but the wave keeps climbing the dead. "They're too fast, your highness," the red-helmed soldier shouts, helm rocking, blood streaking the cheekbone above his red tabard. The running speed of a four-legged monster. Why didn't I think of this beforehand? Damn it. The brown rat coils in the prince's thoughts. At this rate, there will be a lot more rats than I expected that would reach the fort wall. The wall stretches small under green banners. The automatic defense tower hums alive on the parapet, green core glowing inside its iron skull, the long barrel pivoting toward the wave. A halo of green soul light lashes out across the field, vapor curling, the spectral skill sweeping the swarm in lashes of pale fire. Kiek! The green soul light burns the rats from the inside out, a wave of vapor washing through the dust along the parapet stone. Pale figures on the broken wall watch the green chains land in the swarm, every blast a clean hole punched into the climbing wave. Holy shit! That was sick. Ash exhales in pale relief, dark hair lifting, brown eyes wide above the gold-trimmed collar of his black coat. Obviously, the auto turret is the best for defense. The prince's small black bubble crowns him, the green afterglow still bright on his face. The automatic defense tower used up all its ammo. The great barrel slides back on its rails, smoke pluming sideways into the open sky. So many. There are too many. Ash stares out across the field. The red cape still, four-legged silhouettes still pouring through the dust. The battlefront moved forward quicker than I expected. The black bubble fills the page like a slab of stone settling on the prince's chest. The sword fragments are doing their part, but smaller dark shapes crawl over the metal pile, the lure no longer holding the wave still. I guess hand-to-hand combat is unavoidable. It'll be detrimental to stop them with just combat. Brown eyes harden above the gold collar. A massive blast erupts on the field, fire blooming gold and red, dark shapes thrown in the air. The honest part of the war has begun. What? Ash whips in the smoke, dark hair flying, gold sparks at his shoulder, the cape catching the wind off a strange new arrival. What? The black bubble fills the dark like a slab of stone settling. The prince has not seen what is on the wall behind him in days. Who the heck? Brown eyes go wide above the gold collar, the prince's stare drilling out past the parapet into a column of fresh banners. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, kid. The white-bearded Front-Cou laughs in armor beside him, banner red and snapping above his head. The Silver Army. The black bubble wraps the words in jagged hush, a name finally surfacing through the smoke for what just walked in. The large recruitment of worn and torn old soldiers. Their effect was beyond my expectations. Ranks of silver plate hold the wall steady. It's okay if you miss, keep shooting. The silver-armored captain points hard down the line, voice calm above the red-tabarded gunners. We haggards are taking good care of the soldiers. A bearded captain shouts in green plate, mustache wild, eyes bright above the cuirass. Okay, I'll trust the soldiers. Ash's mouth tilts in a sharp smile under dark hair, gold collar catching pale sun. The wall holds tonight. A barrel coughs gold along the broken parapet, fire blooming sideways into dust. The kill zone is bending. Crossroad has not yet fallen. Twin shells punch the field, fire blooming gold above black silhouettes, the swarm shaking under bright bursts of gunpowder. Left defense line, your range of fire is thin. Lucas bellows wide-mouthed in white plate, two red-tabarded soldiers bracing shields below. If I propose a general direction for the entire front, Lucas mutters, leaning over the prince's war map, the dark uniform a shadow at his back. Results in vague dog-shit directions. The blonde knight grits his teeth, sweat on his brow. The aide is finally thinking like a commander. What a capable main character, Ash murmurs behind a small black bubble in the lamplit tent, gold-trimmed coat dark beside the blonde aide. Damien is shooting. A halo of pale fire blooms off the priest's right hand, gold lashes catching the dust above the parapet wall. Speed lines tear past a falling silhouette, the priest's bullet finding its target, dust kicked up in a quick line of broken air. But because Damien's strength is in long-distance sniping, a glowing rune burns gold inside the priest's eye, blood threading down the cheek. A rust-orange ring detonates above the field, gravity warping in violet veins, every pebble lifting like the world has been told to inhale. The artifact slams down in a tower of violet light, dust ringing outward, the gravity ring twisting the air across the broken plane. Gravity artifact number 1 down in 3 minutes. The red-haired magician shouts in her green vest, braid flying, mana sparks at her shoulder. Lily winks one eye, a gloved thumb up, the long braid catching pale light. She has just dropped a miracle on schedule and she knows it. Sorry, Lily. No matter what you do, I still need you to stay on the battlefront. The prince's mouth half curves, the redhead's grin frozen. Ash's small smile pulls at the corner of his mouth, dark hair lifting against a clean blue sky. The negotiation was always one-sided. Wow, everyone's working so hard. A silver-haired veteran sprawls on a stone bench, tin cup balanced lazy on her chest under a cracked arch. Why does my back hurt when I'm trying to gather mana? The eye-patched sorceress drawls under heavy metals, the prince a shadow at her back. I can't even yell at her because she's a precious sorcerer. Ugh. Ash's thought hangs above the gold-trimmed coat, mouth thin and patient. I don't like this, Grandma. The eye-patched veteran grins under silver locks, metals glittering, the cup tilted toward the open sky. Ash's red cape stands small below the cracked battlement, fire bursting at the wall's edge. Too many fires to start one with her. Ash leans against the blackboard wall, gloved hand waving once, eyes half shut, a small smile creasing the gold collar in the corridor light. At this rate we'll clear the stage smoothly. The system reads in pale blue, dark planes streaking the sky above the dust-stained walls. Will this be the first time we'll finally clear a stage without big damages? The red smear of a smile pulls sharp at the corner of his mouth. That guy from before. A pale silhouette glitches in white static across the open dust, dark hair lifting as the prince's thought goes cold. Brown eyes lock open above the gold-trimmed coat, mouth wide, the courtyard lit silver white. The shape is back, the wave is not finished. A single brown eye fills the dark, lash trembling. The iris a pale flare reflecting a watcher who is not standing in the prince's tent. Warning. Hostile NPCs trespassing are one of those events. The crimson alert blooms above a dim castle, words laddering down in clean white type. Whether it's an NPC from the Lake Kingdom or an enemy kingdom of the Empire, the system lists the bastards like a textbook of stored enemies. It's not the time for these events yet. Ash grits his teeth, dark hair flying, the gold collar cutting hard against the line of his throat. I don't even have the director next to me to ask why he designed it like this. Spiral glasses gleam in memory, Mr. A's grin patient as glass. Two glowing eyes burn gold across a child's face, irises spinning like clockwork dials, mouth small under the bright artifact flare. Ash whips around in red cape, dark hair flying, gold tassel snapping, a black-gloved hand stabbed at something only the prince can see. White shears tear down across the courtyard. A vertical curtain of speed lines blanking the world out one stripe of light at a time. A pixel sprite bard hovers in a pale ember halo, pointed hat tipped, gloved hands strumming an unseen string, costume drawn in old game static. Ash points hard down the parapet, dark hair flying, the blonde aide staring back wide-eyed. The thing the prince has seen has finally a name. A gold-engraved staff and a pale-gloved hand fill the dark frame, runes etched along the wood. The bard has stepped out of his pixel skin. Speed lines slash white across the page, the air cracked open in vertical streaks of motion as the prince's heart stalls one heavy beat. A black bubble of dots above the prince's head, dark hair lifting, mouth thin, cheeks smudged with battlefield grit and silent calculation. Ash's brown eyes settle, dark hair smoothing, the prince already breathing again. The silhouette is gone, but the wave is still coming. A dog-sized rat snarls inches from the lens, fangs bared, eyes burning red, fur silvered in dust. The kill zone has finally bled through. A fireball detonates at the foot of the rampart, a halo of flame rising. Red-tabard soldiers brace shields above the broken stones. What's going on? Two silver-helmed soldiers stare wide-eyed across the parapet, red tabard smeared, lips trembling above the cuirass. A fan of long white teeth bursts up the wall, brown bodies hurled, blood-threading dust. The wave has changed shape into something hungry. They're all coming to one spot. The red-helmed soldier shouts, voice cracking. Speed lines spiral inward toward a single point of attack. Where are they going? Ash barks wide mouth, brown eyes wild above the gold collar, dark hair flying in the smoke off the parapet. Fearful that's... Lucas stammers, blue eyes huge above the gold-trimmed plate, blonde hair flying, the breath caught hard in the aide's throat. Change the target area of all the ballistas and cannons. Ash roars wide-mouthed, dark hair flying, the gold-trimmed coat catching battlefield smoke. Cannons crash again, fire blooming gold and white above the broken stones. The barrels hammer one more salvo into the mass of the swarm. No, the red-helmed soldier wails, helm tilted, the defense's response can't keep up in time. Fire ribbons gold along the broken parapet. Their change in movement is too sudden. The system bubble fills the page in jagged black, the words a stone settling on the prince's chest. A brown rat tears across the dirt, eyes burning crimson, sword shards left in its dust. The lure has finally lost its hold on the wave. Claws tear deep grooves into mortar, dust spitting at the foot of the rampart. The kill zone is supposed to begin further out than this. Ash stares down in cold quiet, gold collar tight, mouth thin under dark hair. The prince has learned he built the wrong wall this stage. What? What are they trying to do? A rat lies twitching in a pool of blood, dust settling, the prince's voice cold above the broken stones. Two more rats bare red eyes through the dust, fangs wide open, brown bodies blurring forward in a hard ramming sprint at the wall. The rats are ramming their heads. The system reads in pale type, sparks bursting white where claws meet the broken stone of the rampart. White flares burst across the stone in jagged starbursts, the wall cracking in clean lines, every impact a number subtracted from the wall. Everyone tried their best in limited time. The red-tabarded soldier sobs in the corner, mortar trickling between the cracks of the breach. Ash stares above the gold collar, mouth small. Because we only focused on filling in the empty parts. Unavoidably, there is a crack. Sweat tracks down the prince's cheek above the dark uniform, dark hair flying, the gold tassel still as the wall keeps taking fresh hits. Because we only focused on filling in the empty parts. A pale fracture splits the dark stone, light bleeding through where mortar gave up. They're bending the metal with their claws. They're biting the rock with their teeth. They're digging the fort wall. The system reads. White light splits the stone, a deep fracture racing down the patched wall. Every rat strike pulling the seam wider in clean shears. Ash hisses through clenched teeth, sweat tracking the cheek, gold collar tight, the breach widening below the prince's red cape. A red banner of a black rose snaps over Crossroad while fire blooms in the distance. Ash's silhouette small above his cracking wall, alone.